enough votes. If they did show up for quorum, I feel like I have a good chance that I will be able to pass that 376 more or less. Dismantle the Constitution. Once you dismantle, obviously the Democrats will try to amend it to make it more democratic. What if we don't just show up for quorum, which is what they did? Like out of the parliamentary system, 750 people, 700 supposed to show up, 70 showed up. So 90% did not show up for quorum. So once you didn't show up for quorum, that constitutional amendment motive is dismissed and gone. And that's how you gradually prolonging power as the way you do it, very discreetly and very quietly. And that's something that I really have to think about. To expand on your point, pretty much what he's trying to say in street politics is that you are both a player and a referee. You are both the player and the referee of the game. That's how you can maneuver the game. Pretty much that's the case. So I agree with all of that, and very institutional, such as election commission, referee to be clear, election commission, the court, constitutional court, Supreme Court, anti-corruption commission. That is something that you can use for your advantage as long as it's like selective, unchecked, and without any ability to appeal, for example. But I think the most important thing in this sense for this point is, so how do we think about the origin of all these referees? Because they're usually appointed. I looked up Venezuela, you have 5 election commission, is that correct? We also have 5. The origin is usually appointed, for me, is by the junta, directly or indirectly. Second thing is on the transparency of all these institutions, like how they decide on things, how they deliver the results, if they're independent organizations. Independent to what? Independent to who? And is there any linkage to the people or to the voters or not? Usually they're not. They're unchecked, yeah. Because they're the referee, nobody checks the referee, who watches the watchdog kind of dilemma. And third is on accountability. Like if they do something that is not even morally justifiable or something that is against the law, how do we keep them accountable? Like how do we keep the referee accountable? Origin, transparency, and accountability. Their job is to keep someone accountable, especially politicians. The question is, who keep them accountable? That's something that here at ASH, and I'm trying to come up with ideas of how to do this. So that's how I answer the question about gradual decline of democracy, with the most surprising details of quorum, and also expanding on the points that the professor made. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
So in addition to what Daniel said, that all of those things happen in Venezuela, I will say that there are 3 things that were like an addition or an innovation, right?
An innovation.
Yeah, that is not only Venezuela. Also in the work that I'm doing with Erica, we have found this also happening in other realities. But first, you already mentioned the military ideologization. It's like there was a lot of effort in trying to indoctrinate the military and the police. So there was something very important, because at the end you always need someone to enforce your decisions, right? And to suppress or repress any dissident. So that was a very important line of action of Chavez.
That might have been the difference maker for Brazil, right?
And Argentina and Ecuador.
It did not happen.
Yeah, it didn't happen, right? The second one, it's the use of paramilitary groups, right?
Okay.
Because sometimes you want to outsource the repression, right? Because when you have a picture in the New York Times and in CNN of a military or a police guy in uniform beating a young guy or an old woman, you look bad. You look like what you are. And dictators do elections because they don't want to be perceived as dictators. So then you have paramilitary groups. It can be thieves. It could be non-state actors like drug cartels. It can be like members of their party, and they just say it's just people against people. It's not me. So Chavez did that, and Maduro used that. So they have different names in different times, but at the end, if having civilians and sometimes military or police personnel disguised as civilians to do the dirty work. And the last one I would say is the use of social welfare to either